leap of faith.
This is the way. Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tells me I'm from Memphis.
Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, brought to you by the Drive-In Podcast Network, where we discuss film, TV, and all things Hollywood here on the show. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my trusty co-ghost. There we go. Co-ghost. There we go. Devin, my partner in crime here. Together today, we're going to be talking about the latest film hit theaters this past weekend, and that is Ghostbusters Afterlife. And before we begin today's show, you can listen to our podcast on platforms around the internet. If you're a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. Devin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Busting makes me feel good, always. Nice Friday night, get some busting in. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. So, we're here talking about Ghostbusters. It's a good time, who you're going to call, all that jazz. And this is the fourth installment in the entire franchise. For some reason, I thought there were more, but I wasn't entirely sure if there was or not. But yeah, for the sake of time for everyone, just letting you guys know up front that my voice is still killing me. So we're going to do a shorter show for you guys just for the sake of my voice. Definitely just want to let you guys know that up front. So it's been crazy, man. But how's your weekend been treating you?
It's been pretty solid.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Yeah, I feel
it, man. A lot of busting.
Yeah, a lot of busting. What time did you go see this movie? Did you guys see it at a super late time like you did?
Yeah, another late one, 9:30.
Oh, okay. 9:30 is not
as bad.
I mean, what was the other one was like 10:30 start time, wasn't it?
Yeah, Eternals. A much longer movie too.
A much longer movie. This one's definitely within that 2-hour window for sure. So yeah, we're going to be back with our Ghostbusters Afterlife review right after this short break.
There hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years. New York in the 80s? It's like The Walking Dead. Your dad never mentioned this to you?
It's just my mom. My grandfather died. My mom says we're just here to pick through the rubble of his life.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
All right, Devin, and we are back hunting some ghosts here on the podcast. Director of this Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is kind of like a sequel to Ghostbusters 2 in a way. It's been 30 years since there's been a ghost sighting. The director of this film is Jason Reitman. Writers include Jason Reitman as well as Kenan and Dan. I cannot pronounce your last name, Dan. Can you look that one up, Devin, or give that one a go?
Dan Aykroyd.
Aykroyd? Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And Jason Reitman is the son of the original director. Runs in the family.
Oh, you know what? That's very, very true. And we have our stars here as well. We have Carrie Coon. That is a very bad name to have, by the way.
It's rough. But she works it.
She works it for sure. And of course, we have Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things and Mr. Paul Rudd joining us for this film. And the plot is as follows, or the synopsis. When a single mom and her 2 kids arrive in a small town, they begin to discover their connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather left behind. So yeah, I got to say here, Devin, it's been, I can't say this is a very split movie because especially on Rotten Tomatoes, it's sitting at a 61% critics wise, but audiences are loving it, sitting at a 95%. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this because since I can't call myself a Ghostbusters fan. Like, I like Ghostbusters, but I'm not like a super big fan of the series. But I did quite enjoy this one. But
yeah, I saw the original Ghostbusters. I don't think I ever saw 2, and then I unfortunately watched the 2016 one.
I did not.
It was rough, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was a very pleasant surprise. I enjoyed the blend of new characters with a lot of old references to the original. And I love how focused the story was on the new character, specifically Phoebe. So I thought she did a really good job as the main character. And I like how it stayed with her. It didn't switch off to one of the older ones or one of the bigger stars. It remained her story throughout the whole movie. And I really liked that. And I mean, the effects were amazing throughout most of it. Some of it was kind of rough, like the dogs were like, but the rest was like impressive, especially towards the end. Like it was some impressive effects going on there. And I always loved Paul Rudd. He kind of took a backseat in this one, which was kind of nice. He kind of let everyone else shine, but he's always his charming self.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, any movie that has Paul Rudd in it, it's like 100% yes. But yeah, so the girl who played Phoebe, her name is McKenna Grace from Tejas. Nice. Born in 2006, super, super young, obviously. Makes us feel very old, especially after reviewing Tick, Tick, Boom, which we did last week or a few days ago. But I do agree with you, Devin. Ghostbusters Afterlife, I've been seeing a lot of comparisons between Afterlife and Star Wars: A Force Awakens, because it is kind of like that re-spark, or that kind of like boost back into the franchise, that reigniting the paying the homage to the older films while taking the franchise in a new direction.
The soundtrack actually reminded me a lot of Star Wars. Like there was like those like flutes or recorders or whatever throughout.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
All whimsical and Star Warsy.
Definitely. But yeah, I definitely agree with people's kind of little comparison between Force Awakens and Ghostbusters Afterlife, because with Afterlife, I have watched the original. It's been a while since I've seen the second one, but I really do like how, even in my theater, my audience, people were just eating this stuff up, like 100%.
They had plenty of references, and sometimes it's just like, all right, that's pretty obvious, but it's still cool nonetheless. Like when the sheriff says, who are you gonna call? It's like, hey, he said the thing.
It's like, oh, he did it. Yeah, I gotta say though, like even with the new characters we get with Finn Wolfhard, or I guess you can call him. What is his name in this movie again? I forgot.
Trevor.
What?
Trevor.
Okay. I was like,
I love that diner scene when they made fun of him for flirting.
That was actually really funny.
And I've been seeing a lot of people complain that it's too fan servicey, but I think it was like a really perfect balance of fan service and developing these new characters. Because you got the new trio here of Phoebe, Trevor, and Podcast. Podcast was great, by the way.
Podcast next to Phoebe.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, he was hilarious. But we never got his actual name.
Maybe it is Podcast. He could have. I mean, he's young enough, I guess. Podcasts were around 10 years ago.
He was like old school, and they were, but it's like all of his episodes. We'll get into it.
I love the end. There's a nice callback to his podcast at the end with one of the Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah. That was. It's so funny because it's like we can relate to that on like so many levels, and it's so. Obviously, his podcast was more mysteries unknown, and more of a solo podcast in a sense. So, but I really, really enjoyed that for sure.
So yeah, I also forgot to mention Lucky, the love interest for Trevor. She's a part of that.
Oh, her name was Lucky. That's right.
That quartet of new Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I really enjoyed just how whimsical this was. Like the jokes landed a lot, especially in my theater.
A lot of Phoebe's jokes. Well, I think only one of hers landed for me, but that's like on purpose, like purposely cringy, I guess. But at the same time, there were a lot of them.
Was that the one she was talking to Paul Rudd about? That one?
I like the Polar Bear one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not scientists, but they are more nerdy, like super nerdy, like geeky jokes where it's like, it's a scientist joke. Like you either get it or you don't, like I work in IT. So it's like, there's so many, I mean, I've seen a lot of like computer jokes and stuff out there. So like, yeah, some of it's funny, but it really is more of a, in-person type thing for that type
it was mostly podcast jokes that landed.
Oh, for sure. He was definitely, like, you would have thought that Paul Rudd was like the tension breaker, but it was definitely podcast.
His timing was really great.
What was that guy's name? I'm blanking on it right now. The guy who played podcast. I'm trying to look it up.
Logan Kim.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, he was like super, super young. But yeah, podcast was definitely one of my favorites there, top 1A, 1B type thing. But what did you think about Trevor Finn's character, Mr. Stranger Things?
He also took a back seat more so to his sister Phoebe, but I thought it was a decent balance. Like he kind of had his own side story with Lucky. He had a couple things to do on his own, but it was definitely a Phoebe story.
Yeah, it definitely was. And like as I was watching it, I was trying to figure out who was like the main character, and obviously they kind of because they're introducing two new kids, and then it kind of like goes in the direction of one. I saw someone like post like an out of context spoiler, and I was like, I mean, I can't like I watched it, and I'm like, okay, this is obviously still a spoiler, but when I watched it in real time, I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. But I get tired of those non-context. Well, like, they're still spoilers to me, at least. Like that's just my 2 cents, I guess. But Devin, are you ready to get into spoilers for Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Oh yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after you hear. Oh my God, Devin, we're here. Whoa, wow. Whoa. So yeah, we got some nice little tectonic plates going on here. So yeah, now we are in the spoiler section here, ladies and gentlemen. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. It's a great ride. Maybe tear up a little bit as well towards the end.
There was more emotion than you would ever think in the Ghostbusters movie towards the end there.
Yeah, like it's so I didn't really expect anything from this movie. Like just anything at all, because like I said, I'm not a big Ghostbusters fan, and we kept seeing it pop up in theaters. I believe this is produced by Sony Pictures, so this is one of their properties. But overall, like I really like how they brought back the Ghostbuster that did pass away in real life.
Yeah, that was really impressive. Yeah, how it looked,
and I like how they didn't give him like any voice, anything. You know what I mean? That was honestly really, really nice.
Disney should take some notes with their Skywalker attempt.
Oh, wait, are you talking about Luke?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Anakin when they kind of swapped him out towards the end of Return of the Jedi. But yeah, it was a nice attempt. It's just, it was cool to see Luke, but at the same time, getting kind of, I don't know. Either way, the CGI in this, especially for Harold, the Ghostbuster that was that did pass away, I think it looks like really, really good.
Yeah, and then the hug between his daughter and his granddaughter.
Yeah.
Oof, that one tugged the heartstrings.
Yeah, because it's so crazy how like throughout the entire movie, Carrie Coon's character, the mother, she doesn't really care much. She wants like nothing to do with her father, like.
Yeah, because from her perspective, he just left them and that's it, like, for no reason.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, because you have, I don't know, it like she just completely neglected her father. They don't really talk about her mom all that much, but obviously, her father being a Ghostbuster, he's a busy guy, but throughout the entire, like even during like the beginning scene where he essentially becomes a ghost himself, and he's like kind of a part of like the house, the dirt farm they kept calling it, which was kind of cool. But I like how they were like in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't like, they didn't have to be in a giant city, like end of the world type thing.
Yeah, they were in nowhere.
Yeah, like literally nowhere. Yeah. So Devin, what did you think of the villain? Because I'm kind of iffy on that part. I'm not entirely sure if it worked for me.
Obviously a throwback to the original. Same type of demonic type ghost spirit creature lady.
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell. I think it was Olivia Wilde. That's what it looked like to me. I'm not seeing her name anywhere though.
No, I'm not sure who it was who played like.
But it looked a lot like Olivia Wilde. And then there was like a 10-second J.K. Simmons cameo too.
Yeah.
He played the guy in the like tomb.
The only thing, like even with the marketing with this, like the first two trailers, it was very mysterious. They didn't really have to market it too much. But then like when it comes to the final trailer, you see, like you don't see the faces of the original Ghostbusters, but you get like, Ernie Hudson and Bill Murray.
Who has not aged. My God.
No, he is not. Bill Murray, out of all of them, it's like,
yeah,
I really like it's like, Ray, are you a god? He was like,
Come on, Ray.
That was funny. Really, really funny. I think the jokes for the most part did land. The one thing besides like the CGI and I guess like the excuse me, the end of the world threat, it was more so of I think it was the part when they were in jail, but then they kind of explained why they were. Because I was like, why are like, 4 adolescents like inside of a county jail? But then I thought, I'm like, well, they are in the middle of nowhere. And they kind of
the jail part was probably the weak point because it was just weird how it all like ended up like she pointed the gun at the sheriff and then they just walked away. It was like, you sure that's how it works?
It was strange. Like in I mean, overall, it's just kind of, I mean, you see Phoebe who's trying to, fight for her grandfather's legacy, which I think is a really, really nice touch. But it really.
And I love how they first started communicating with the chessboard. I thought that was really clever. And then he kind of leads her down.
At first, I thought it was just some random ghost because, Phoebe doesn't believe in ghosts, and then she has that. My God, those jokes. I think I forgot the joke itself when she first meets Paul Rudd, and she does that awkward wink.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
It was like I thought you were being obtuse. And
then podcast is like, I think that guy's trying to like bone your mom. He's
good.
Like, does that not bug you? She's like, it does. It just I don't express emotions the same way as everybody else. And I was like,
puking on the inside.
Yeah, very. God, it was so funny. But yeah, there's nice little love relationships going on here and there, but they're kind of, I don't know. Like I would say
the whole dynamic between the mom and his name's Gary Gruberson. Can't forget that.
Yeah,
that was hilarious. Just every time they're on the screen together, both the kids just kind of like cringe the whole scene. It's pretty good.
I love it how they have the Baskin Robbins, how he's in the Walmart picking up Baskin Robbins ice cream. That was some nice stuff. Baskin Robbins always finds out.
And the marshmallows are great too. They looked really cool and a nice contrast from the original.
Yeah, and like I think out of also the ghost that was like kind of eating metal, like
Muncher.
Munch. I thought
he was voiced by Josh Gad apparently.
Really? I didn't really know they necessarily had like. Well, I guess they would have a voice actor for a monster.
He's munching away.
Yeah, munching away on that metal, man. It was some crazy stuff. But yeah, it's overall, like I know I've been kind of tiptoeing around some stuff, even though we're in freaking spoilers. I saw it yesterday at like 3 p.m. But overall, I really did just enjoy kind of just the not like I thought it was kind of clever how the entire like dirt farm essentially was like a giant ghost trap.
Yeah, I love how it all leads back to there, and the final battle at the end was really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty. And then I mean, the whole possessing thing, I thought that was kind of weird because like
it was goofy for sure, but it's like classic Ghostbusters weirdness.
Yeah, this is very, very true. But I think my favorite scene of the entire outside of like the third act was probably between Ray and Phoebe when she gets one phone call. Like that was the other thing. I was like, dude, she's like what? 12 years old.
And she's like, I'm in prison.
And then it's like you decide not to call your parents, but I guess her mom's gonna find out eventually. But I really like the dynamic that they had between each other. And then of course towards the end of the movie, Mr. Podcast, and you find out that Ray is his subscriber.
His only subscriber. It really picks up towards episode 45.
That was so funny.
That's a great callback.
It really, really was. And it's, I don't know, like the fact that he walked around and, he was giving Phoebe like his entire episode list, like on a flash drive. It's like this, he doesn't have it uploaded to, like Apple, stuff like that, whatever.
I've never seen a podcast on a flash drive before. And
I was trying to figure out, like, that made me wonder what year was this set in?
I mean, Finn's character had a smartphone for sure.
Yeah, so it's like it's definitely there. I like it how he had like podcast had his entire equipment with him at all times, and of course he would carry his episodes around on a flash drive, or maybe that's just more of a marketing thing where it's like, hey, like here's all my episodes on a flash drive, whatever. But it's very it's very relatable for sure. But I really liked his one-liners and him finding the dead guy who wakes up and he just freaks out. Like, it was hilarious. Absolutely loved it. But I wanted to turn it back over to you really quick so we can get out of here. Was there anything else, any gripes, anything else that kind of like caught your eye during this, your overall thoughts?
I guess the other issue I had was the first hour or so is definitely like on the slower side. It takes a while to get into the action and into the world building, but then after that it's really the fun ride.
Yeah,
like we said before, McKenna Grace was great. She carried the film. Like I said, the writer did a good job of honing in on her and making it a story about her, because it's very easy to get off track in a movie that's also relying on nostalgia like this one.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to big franchises like this, it can definitely work. It's just so I feel like, so I was watching a video about that 70s show and how they made like 13, 15 episodes of that 80s show where it's dealing with like Eric's cousin, whatever, but it's the guy the YouTuber, I'm blanking on his name right now, I do apologize, but he was saying that usually when it comes to like a continuation of like a franchise or like a sitcom, something like that, the new material tries to is either like a carbon copy of the old one or tries to be a carbon copy while trying to usher into a new era. Like, and I think Ghostbusters Afterlife does a great job of balancing those out, because it's, I mean, obviously it's paying homage, like, it's more about the visual homage, but it is kind of pushing it into a new direction. I would like to see them kind of maybe make another one. I really don't know. Maybe this should be the end.
They definitely set it up for a sequel.
Did you watch the after credits?
Yep.
I watched one of them. What was I watched the first one with the card trick, but I didn't stay for the second one.
The second one was all about Ernie Hudson's character. He's getting the old Ecto vehicle back up to snuff.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely have to look. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. But yeah, definitely. But overall, like, I really, really did enjoy this, with the CGI and especially the car chasing scene when they first, pump out the old station wagon and they're kind of like figuring it out as they go. Phoebe's, in the gunner seat and whatnot. It was very Ghostbusters-esque. And
podcast is like, you know how to drive? And he's like, yeah, of course. He failed the driver's test 5 times. Get in the back. It's like Phoebe's the writing is very clever throughout.
Yes. I love how oh my god, there was another joke where I think when they first move in and Finn Wolfhard's character puts up his cell phone, he's like not a single bar, and then mom's like, there better be a bar in this town. I thought
she was like, that's funny.
Yeah, I really did like the mom character. Like, obviously it is always about the kids, but she was pretty much in tune. I really liked how, I mean, she pretty much called her father like, an a-hole and all this stuff, and just
her character was really, really entertaining. Like the sassy mom.
Yeah.
Carrie Coon's always great. She's also Proxima Midnight.
Oh, is she?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen her in a lot of things. I mean, she was in Gone Girl, Widows. There we go. Man, how good was that movie? But yeah, pretty much, that's pretty much my final thoughts for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Like, I loved it. I would definitely go see it again.
Yeah, like I said before, they just did a great job of balancing nostalgia and developing the new characters, and that's very hard to do. But I think they pulled it off. Definitely.
I mean, 61% critic wise isn't terrible, but it's definitely more on the lower side. Like,
that audience is.
The audience, 96%, man. They love it. And honestly, so yeah, it's not like this movie's trying to win any awards or anything. It's just trying to have a good time. And I think they definitely succeeded in that, much like Star Wars did with the Force Awakens, because it was very touching and it had a lot of sensitive, like, emotional moments for sure, just between family, friends, and figuring out their family legacy. So I mean, on Letterboxd, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. So that's pretty much where I stand, which would be like probably like an 85 out of 100, something around there. You know, I thought it was really good. Not the best. You know, we kind of talked about our gripes there, but what would you give this movie?
In honor of the original, I'm going to give it an 84. 1984.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot for sure. It definitely kind of prompted me to go back and just watch the other two Ghostbusters. Still haven't seen the 2016. I don't think I ever will.
It's unfortunate.
Is it good? You like it?
No. The movie's unfortunate.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I guess that kind of sort of ties into this, but like for everyone out there, you definitely don't need to watch 2016 like at all in order to watch this. I mean,
it's completely retconned.
Yeah, completely. Because I mean, I don't know, a lot of dudes out there were not very excited about female Ghostbusters and whatnot. And I was like, had nothing to do with that. I just heard the movie wasn't good, like the jokes didn't land and whatnot. So maybe one day I'll watch it, just not today. So that pretty much concludes our Ghostbusters Afterlife review. I kind of made it through. Woo! Man, oh man, being sick really, really sucks when you're running a podcast. And I don't know, you know, you juice yourself up, you know, you got yourself on all these medications and whatnot. And, you know, sometimes it just doesn't go through, but it's just that time of year again, man. You know what? There was a full moon last night at 5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m. There was a full moon last night. I walked out of the theater because I went there at 3 p.m. Central. I came out and I was like, oh, like I expected it to be dark outside. And I look up and there's the moon. It's shining bright as it can be. Craziest thing ever.
It's a sign.
Of what?
Busting makes you feel good.
Busting makes you feel good? Well, depends on what kind of busting you're talking about, Devin. So, but yeah, that, like I said before, that concludes our review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Thank you everyone for listening. Of course, we have a lot of stuff coming up here on the podcast. We have our Hawkeye review coming out the day before Thanksgiving on November 24th. And then we have our Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows review, part 1, dropping on Black Friday. And also, if you are looking to like watch Ghostbusters after listening to this, or like this the original, I believe it's on sale for like $10. There are a lot of good sales going on right now, Devin. I'm not gonna lie, it's good stuff. Bought a lot of good stuff, and you know, I'm sitting pretty. I'm the new sci-fi movie draft king over on the Suit Up Geeks YouTube channel. Go ahead and check out, you know, my run of how I dominated the competition, if you will. Definitely follow them over at Suit Up Geeks on Twitter. So let's close on out of here. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian. And we'll see you guys in the next one. And remember, I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Peace.